is the coach that will have the most success next season between Kelly at LSU, Venables at Oklahoma, or Riley at USC?
Well, first of all, I'm disappointed you didn't mention Mario Cristobal at Miami with my Canes down there.
I would put him fourth. I know you're the U girl, but the U stinks.
I know. It's going to take him a minute. Yes, that's why I understand that. So I know we've been kind of big on USC from the beginning, like feeling that was the best job and stuff. And I truly believe, just given the coach that Lincoln Riley is, what he can do schematically with an offense. And he's going to have some weapons, I think, at quarterback. We'll see what Slovis does. But like that Jackson Dart kid, the freshman that came in last season, he got some experience. He didn't play great. He played well. And you think maybe with Lincoln Riley, he's like the quarterback whisperer. Does Caleb Williams come over from Oklahoma and follow him? I think it's going to be Lincoln Riley. Brent Venables, you expect some adjustments there as his first time as a head coach taking over at Oklahoma. And then Brian Kelly at LSU, like, I don't know, everything I read, it's not good. Like quarterbacks transferring now from last year. They've got guys decommitting every day. And if it's half as decent as his new Southern accent, it's not going to be very good.
Oh, hell, we all get Southern accents when we go south, girl.
What was that? Seriously.
I don't know.
Like, I was dying because it made me think of like when they when they had me do my Ed Ogeron accent on air live during the broadcast of the BYU game. I got so much shit for it, but I was like, gosh, if they had me do that accent, like, what is that? That was just bizarre.
Can you do the Ed accent now?
Oh man, I haven't heard him in a bit. Okay, hold on. I gotta get loud though. Hopefully I don't make him go. All right, Dakich, we got to come in 1 team, 1 heartbeat. All right, 1 team, 1 heartbeat. We're going out there. We're going to win this team. We're going to win this game. All right, let's go. Wednesday morning here, and don't at me now. Don't at me. All right. And he always smiles at them. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. That was really good. That was really good. Is his an easy accent to do?
Yeah, because it's so, like, distinct. Yeah,
Guttural,
you just go deep and gravelly. Yeah. I love that guy.
But when Kelly did that, like, do you think somebody said to him, hey, coach, man, get a Southern accent? I
hope not. That's some really bad advice. Like every coach you ever talk to, they're like, what's the best piece of advice yet? They all say, be yourself. Like, you're from Massachusetts, dude. Everybody knows that. And you think those people can't spot a phony Southern bad Cajun weird accent? Come on. I did read one thing, though. Somebody that was there that said it didn't seem as bad in person. Like, that he didn't notice anything weird watching it. I don't know if he was drunk or just not paying attention, because I watched it multiple times and I just laughed and cringed, and I don't know. He got some really bad advice as somebody told him he needed to get a Southern accent to win over the fans there in Baton Rouge.
One of the things I will say, when you have a microphone, a handheld or maybe it was plugged in the middle of a basketball court and it's the PA, it doesn't sound to the people in there that clear. You know what I mean? So I could see where somebody that was there
and in his defense, I will say when you speak, but I feel like he's done that a million times. When you speak in those arenas and it reverberates back, it's weird because it's almost like a little echo. If you're not, it throws me off whenever I do trophy presentations. First, hello, welcome to like the Rose Bowl ceremony. Hello, and you hear it. So maybe that was what was weird with him. I don't know.
Is the Rose Bowl the coolest game to go to in football?
So I didn't have, let me answer this. Yes and no. So when I worked it for television, it was in Arlington. It was last year, but I have worked it for radio. And that was the Wisconsin-Oregon game 2 years ago. And like when that sun started to set over the mountains and the colors, and it was a great game. It was special. It was one of those games that you look around and you're like,
my mom and dad, late in life, they went out to Pasadena. My dad always wanted to go to Rose Bowl. My mother, the most holy of women, she decided that they have to volunteer, and they ended up volunteering and putting flowers on the Rose Bowl floats.
That's amazing.
Which sounds awful.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah. And she said, even my dad, who's like, a teacher, an iron worker, and he's like, Dan, I got to tell you, man, it was one of the coolest things we ever did. It was so cool to see the people lined up and how organized. I don't know. I want to go to the Rose Bowl. And I'm mad at Lee. We got people coming to our house this year.
And I want to do the whole thing, the parade, all that.
Hey, Dubs, college, people see you as a host and as on the sidelines of football, but you did college basketball. We did together for years. College basketball should start around Christmas. Somebody hit me with that yesterday and made some pretty good points. What do you think?
What were the good points?
Well, the good points was people aren't really paying attention until then. All these good games that are being played in Feast Week and all that really aren't watched because you're going up against all of college football. So if you started around Christmas, there's so many less games. A lot of these bowl games are done. And if you play these good games like Duke and Gonzaga or whatever, they get more eyes. Even if you have to go a little long into March Madness, who cares? And
I don't buy that because these games are on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like they're midweek. They're not on Saturday. So why are they going up against college football? No, I don't buy that. I like it now. I think the games this year and each year have gotten better and better in the non-conference play between like the different tournaments you have. And like you said, Feast Week, the Maui Jim Maui Classic. You have the Big Ten ACC little, square down that they do every. So no, I think it's good right now. I mean, tell James Madison to wait till after Christmas. That was like the best early Christmas they could get, beating Virginia. I mean, we've seen some really good fun games, and I think it's nice to have them during the week. And if you don't pay attention, that's your own problem.
Yeah, one of the things that I just looked down at my note was that, most people are in college football mode. And I'm thinking to myself, this isn't rocket science. Oh, wait, what's on tonight? A baseball game. Oh, I like the teams. I'll watch it. Wait, there's a football game. Oh, okay. Yeah, it ain't rocket science. It's not. This isn't like I can't watch two sports at one time. Jeez, try having two kids. Try having two kids at one time.
One of them's going to suffer.
Or be happy because you're not paying attention to them.
True.
It is more unlikely, or it was, I'm sorry, wait a second, I'm going the wrong way here. If you were a player or you were a parent, of a first-round pick, and you were playing in a bowl game that wasn't for the college football championship, would you opt out?
I go back and forth on this one. I totally understand why guys do. I completely respect it. I think that just knowing me, I probably would. And again, it depends on the bowl game, even if it's not a playoff game.
You would?
No, I would play.
Not the Rose. I'm not even talking about the Rose Bowl.
I would play. I would play.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. I think just kind of the way it was limited athletic career. I emphasize limited that I had in high school. So, like, it's about the team. It's about the people you play with. It's the experience of playing together. I like to think I would. But if it was like, I don't know, if it was a really low tier, maybe not. And I'm a guaranteed lock for a first round and big money. I don't care about the insurance policy and all that. Maybe you don't.
I do too. I like to think that I would, but I'm not sure I would. You know what I would do? And I would lay out, if you were my son, and I was, okay, we're going to lay out the financial impact of getting hurt, but we're also going to lay out, legacy becomes important to you for a very long time from the school that you went to. You played for a few years, but your legacy going back there, I don't know if it's important or not, but I feel
right. And it comes down to, what do you play for? Do you play, do you play for yourself? Do you play for your teammates? Do you play for your future? Do you play for your university? It's a name on the front or the back. But again, I totally understand why it's not in the best interest of some guys to go out there and risk injury. It's such a pivotal moment in their life that could set them up for future success for years to come. So it's a cool decision and I don't blame any athlete that decides not to play, but I do always think it's a little bit indicative of a team and a culture when multiple athletes decide not to play, especially in like a New Year's Six game.
Yeah, New Year's Six game, I'd have a hard time with. The Final Four, I'm playing. Right. I don't give a damn. I'm with you on all that. I went from saying, no, you got to play, to maybe, I'm exactly with you. All right, you're watching Georgia get its ass beat by Alabama. All right, it's Saturday. is the most watched championship game in a long, long time in the weekend of championships, not the college football playoff, but it was a hugely watched game. You're watching Georgia, really for the most part, get annihilated. Was there any part of you as a college football media person that thought, maybe Georgia shouldn't be in the top 4?
I thought maybe we've gotten them wrong, because if you looked at their body of work, I mean, who's their best win? It's definitely not Clemson. That win changed as the season played out, how you viewed that. Florida wasn't the team we expected them to be. So their best wins were probably Kentucky and Arkansas. They shut out Arkansas 30-something-0, and Arkansas finished top 25. So did Kentucky. So it definitely made me question, what do we really know about Georgia? Okay, they've got the top ranked defense in the country, but have they really been tested? I never thought they would drop out of the top 4, though. That to me was like not even a possibility. But I think the argument can be made that they shouldn't have been ranked as high as they were all season.
I agree. I agree. All right, we're getting into hot takes, and I already gave you my first one about college basketball needs to start, because it's impossible for me to follow a rundown. And Stephanie and Lauren are back there going, hey, dumbass, that's the hot takes, not just the conversation. So I'm going to skip that one, all right? Here's a hot take. Cincinnati getting into the college football Final Four was more improbable than teams like VCU, George Mason, Wichita State, etc., getting into the NCAA basketball tournament Final Four.
Yes.
Really?
Maybe not yes, because it hadn't been done. And we always have a Cinderella team. Look, the field, once it's set, it's up to you. Go play. You win, you go. There is a human element to having to get into the football Final Four. And there is a bias that I think is inherently present whenever humans are making decisions, and you're not able to just go out on the field to play or the court and earn it. So as much as I see this chip stacked against these teams like VCU and the Cinderella stories, the Loyolas and all that, they do it. And they do it the year, a non-Power 5 team didn't get the opportunity. So, I'm going to say.
I agree. And I think you made a really good point. I mean, you're in the tournament. I'll just go win or go lose. I mean, that's
you control what happens once you get into the tournament. I mean, you have to get in, but there's 64 teams. So if you're decent, you're going to get in. You're going to get a chance. That's not the case in football.
Loyola hits a bunch of game winners at the end, and now you're in the final. Yeah, it's a great point. The other thing I think is money. Right? I mean, this isn't under the NCAA control like the NCAA tournament is. The money goes to the schools that, are putting this thing on. So, no, I think I think you're absolutely right. You're smart. You're good with words. All right. The United States should boycott the upcoming Olympics, not just domestic or whatever they called it, a diplomatic boycott. The athletes, everybody, the United States should pull out and boycott this winter's Olympics in Beijing.
I think there's a lot of things we should do towards China that we don't need to put on our Olympic athletes to send a message. This is a difficult one. The crimes against humanity that the Chinese Communist Party has perpetrated for years go, I think, largely underreported and discussed. But it's the Olympics. And I think there are other sports organizations that could step up and have a larger impact on China, but continue to do business with them, especially the NBA. And I give, organizations like the Women's Tennis Association, who's pulled some of their tournaments out of China, a ton of credit. I think they're doing the right thing and looking out for one of their members. But this is different because you can reschedule a tennis tournament in a different country. You can't reschedule the Olympics. Only every 4 years for some players. This will be the first and only opportunity. For some athletes, it'll be the last. It's something they've trained their whole lives for, and is only every 4 years. So I think to put that on the U.S. Olympic Committee and the athletes is a bit unjust to them. I don't like using that word because what's going on there is beyond unjust. But I think that's a tough spot to put them in. We should be arguing if the Olympics should be in China again with their track record and what's going on there. But that's tough. I'm not sure what is this the diplomatic holdout, what kind of punch that will pack. I'm sure it'll offend some people, but it doesn't have it doesn't have an impact. But yeah, that's tough. And you got to make sure that they can be there and compete safely too for the US athletes, everything.
Well, I think that's a great point. And, you know, I've talked about the Women's Tennis Association. I think that's very brave. And I think the Women's Tennis Association opened up doors.
Yeah.
I think the NBA eventually will. They got covered because the Women's Tennis Association opened it up. Do you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. And I think they showed that you can and should put people over profit. And when there are people who are potentially being harmed, especially one of your own with the Women's Tennis Association, that needs to factor into your decisions and your business dealings with a country that, you know, has internment camps for Muslims and other minorities and has a long track record of, you know, sterilization and human rights violations that are gross. And I know there's a ton of money to be made there, but if sports organizations and leagues want to become social activists domestically, maybe they need to be internationally as well.
Yeah, particularly when you're an international business like the NBA is. And the NBA made a conscious effort to become an international business. That was, you know, Yao Ming was promoted for a reason. I mean, you know, and here you go. All right, speaking of athletes, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the world's most famous athlete right now, non-soccer division.
Oh, you just non-soccer?
I know. I could tell you were getting ready to jump on me and talk about Ronaldo.
And Messi.
And his fake front teeth.
And his sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, man. No, I think LeBron's still bigger, but I think there's even Federer, too. We're bigger. This world is bigger than the US. And I know we forget that sometimes. And I think there is something also about the sport he plays, the fact that like 90% of the time he's on the television, he has a helmet on and you don't see him. So when you have guys that are basketball players and they play the entire time and you can see them, or a Federer who's in like the singular spotlight, when you look internationally across the globe, I think both those guys would be more recognizable than Tom Brady.
Who do you think if I did not put the non-soccer division in there?
Ronaldo or Messi? Yeah, I mean, you go to Europe, like people are like, what's the NFL? Who, the Tampa Bay what? Like what? Like they don't care about that stuff. And there's a lot more of them over there and in South America and, you know, across the globe and Africa and all these, you know, different places that are way more into soccer than our little country is into NFL.
I went to a game in England in Wembley Stadium. The Colts were playing the Jaguars. Lee and Laura and Tegan and I went. And the guy, I was sitting right below the box. I was sitting in the stands, but the row right below, you know, a suite, and all these guys in suits that were obviously pretty important guys tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Why do you guys stop the game so much? Why does nothing happen? You know?" And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Leave me alone. It's football.
It's easier for us to follow that way. We need the stops and starts. It continues back and forth in the running clock. You can't keep track of anything. It's chaos. No good here for us.
Too much. There's extra time. What's the extra time? I need it down to the 0.01. Yes, I need it to, you know, we got our clocks at, you know, they go to 24.2 seconds. That's what we need. We don't need some random extra time.
Exactly.
All right. I say this every year, and I want your take on it. The college football playoffs, the college football Final Four always plays itself out
right. It pisses me off.
It always does.
Every time. All I want, ever since the first year. The first year was crazy when TCU got bumped, right? Like that.
It's TCU.
Yeah, but you're right. Ever since then, it has been smooth sailing, chalk across the board, not a lot to argue. And it pisses me off. And it's no offense to the good people on the selection committee. I just want some chaos. I want their lives to be difficult at the end. I wanted, you know, Oklahoma State to win, maybe Michigan to lose, and no knock on either, you know, to Harbaugh. Like I just wanted I want their jobs to be difficult. And every year they have made it easy across the board, and it pisses me off.
Hey, Allison, 3 weeks ago, this team, that team, this is chaos. And I always say it's going to play itself out. You are a Michigan gal. What are your thoughts?
I actually was super excited for them. I was one of the critics of Harbaugh, and I didn't think he lived up to the expectations for which they hired him. And I felt like he came up short year after year and couldn't win the big bowl game, couldn't beat Ohio State. Those were important things, couldn't get him to the Big Ten championship. But he came through this year, and I think he reinvented himself in a lot of ways. I think he obviously rebuilt completely his staff, and I give him credit. And I was genuinely happy for him, for the fans back home. And I think it's better in college football when the Wolverines are good. So to them and way to prove the doubters wrong, and credit to University of Michigan for sticking with their guy and saying like, nope, this is our guy. He's going to get us there, and we're going to give him the time he needs. And he took the pay cut he had to. And I'm super happy for Harbaugh and all the Go Blue fans.
And he gave $1 million back to
the COVID people.
People that lost their job. Yeah, I thought that was great, man. I think it's a great story.
I do
too. What's the latest on your show?
So we're plugging away. It's starting to come together. I feel like in a lot of ways it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We're basically working on kind of a sports mini doc and how social media, mainstream media, and politics have infiltrated sport and kind of created a divide for a lot of us, when sports was always a really strong point of unification. Why has that changed? It's a lot to bite off, because obviously there's a million different examples and things we could incorporate, but we're starting to kind of whittle it down. We got our team together, some really smart people, smarter than me, thankfully. So we're getting there. We're plugging along.
I ain't smarter than you. Last thing. You good with Cristobal? You
I am.
About that being a
I
new
am.
grad?
First of all, I want to say this. I'm sad the Manny Diaz era did not work out, and not just because obviously I'm a Hurricane and I want to win, because I really liked him for the university. I liked, his ties to the city. I liked the energy, the creativity he brought to that defense, and the turnover chain and all the things he represented. I think he had a very unique pulse on the city of Miami and that community and that team. And he was a really good guy to me. And he was the first coach there in a long time that made me feel like it mattered that I was an alum, that I was welcome there, that could still be my home. I had not felt that with previous coaches there, and I appreciate him for that. That being said, it was obvious that a change was coming. And I did not think Miami was going to be able to make it rain like they did to get Mario Cristobal. We're talking like Elton Shapiro days in the club. That is just insane to me that they found that kind of dough to buy out Manny, to buy out Mario, and bring him back to his home in Miami. So I'm thrilled. I like Cristobal a lot as a coach. I actually, back when he was at Alabama as an O-line coach, I can remember talking to former Miami players. And I think there was I want to say that was around the time they brought in, might have been Rick or Golden, I don't remember. But his name within the Miami football community has been circulated for years as a guy that should eventually be a head coach there. So this is someone that people within, that program really thought had big time potential to come there and turn things around. So I'm excited.
I look at it like, man, people say, well, you can't leave Oregon and Phil Knight's money. Yeah, but you got to look, these are people.
It's
too,
home.
Right? This is his community.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And it's not like he took a huge pay cut. He ain't going
that's the thing. I mean, if you make 6, does 7 make that much of a difference, million? Like, how much money can you spend? And there's no state income tax in Florida, so you're getting a little raise there. Don't forget that land of the free with DeSantis down there. So there's plenty of perks leaving Oregon. The weather's better. You can be like Keys in like 45 minutes. I mean, come on. And Mama's there for him.
It's not a bad spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You're the best. Thanks for
your time.
Fun as always.
You're
awesome.
Good to see you, man.
You're the best. So talk to you next week.